Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Marcus Leonido. I am a member of Troop 3877, and will be serving as the Master of Ceremonies for today's Court of Honor. Color Guard, please present the colors. Will everyone please stand? All right. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Scouts, please join me in reciting the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. The color guard may return to their seats. You may all sit down. I would like to introduce Pastor Kimberly Hester of Christ the King Lutheran Church.
Someone take my prayer.
No, it should be down there. There it is.
There we go. All right. First, just on behalf of Christ the King Lutheran Church, we're glad to have you here. And Harold, we are proud of you and so glad to be able to celebrate with you this day. Will you pray with me, please? God of all creation, today is a day of celebration and accomplishment. As Harold has walked the path and navigated the trail that brings him to this Eagle Court of Honor, we are grateful, O God, for the commitment he has demonstrated as he wove his responsibilities as a scout into the values of the community together for the life and vibrancy of this world you created. Bless Harold's family, whose love nurtured, encouraged, and supported him on his path to Eagle. May they be privileged to rejoice in his accomplishments today and in the days to come. Bless also the dedicated leaders who worked with Harold, teaching him, guiding his character, and contributing to the values he reflects both as a scout and as a person. We pray, O God, as this Eagle Court of Honor is not the end, that Harold will serve as a role model for his troop and all around him, that his life will reflect the values of the Scout Law, oath, and traditions of his faith. May today be a blessing. Amen.
Thank you. Steve Rothwell, Scoutmaster of Troop 3877, will now officially open this Court of Honor.
Before I officially open, if I can ask anybody who has a cell phone, please put it in stun or turn it off. By the power vested in me by the National Council of the Boy Scouts of America, I declare this Court of Honor in session for the sole purpose of presenting the Eagle Scout Award to Harold Thomas McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Rothwell. Now, Harold's madrina, Carmen Madrid, will give us a special reading.
I'm always all fun and games. I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to share a few passages from one of my favorite books, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Every second of the search is an encounter with God, the boy told his heart. When I have been truly searching for my treasure, every day has been luminous, because I've known that every hour was a part of the dream that I would find it. When I have been truly searching for my treasure, I've discovered things along the way that I never would have seen had I not had the courage to try things that seemed impossible for a shepherd to achieve. In addition to realizing our dreams, master the lessons we've learned as we've moved toward that dream. That's the point at which most people give up. It's the point at which, as we say in the language of the desert, one dies of thirst just when the palm tree have appeared on the horizon. Every search begins with beginner's luck, and every search ends with the victors being severely tested. The alchemist asked one of the soldiers for some tea and poured some on the boy's wrists. A wave of relief washed over him, and the alchemist muttered some words that the boy didn't understand. "Don't give in to your fears," said the alchemist in a strangely gentle voice. "If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart." He sat looking at the sky for a long time. He thought of the many roads he had traveled and of the strange way God had chosen to show him his treasure. If he hadn't believed in the significance of recurrent dreams, he would not have met the gypsy woman, the king, the thief, or, well, it's a long list. But the path was written in the omens, and there was no way he could go wrong.
Thank you. Harold's family members, Paul and Jennifer Pimentel, who serve as associate pastors at Kingdom Covenant Church in Southern California, could not travel to join us. Unable to share their thoughts on Harold's journey to Eagle Scout in person, Paul Pimentel kindly recorded his reflections earlier this week for us to play in here today.
You have demonstrated and exemplified the role of Eagle celebrate Harold Thomas. We are honored and grateful to be here. HT, you have demonstrated and exemplified the role of Eagle Scout long before the rank was conferred upon you. You have joined an elite group of accomplished scouts, and to you we say, a job well done. It is fitting that congratulations of the highest level are bestowed upon you. I want to share a couple of my observations about you that reflect Scout spirit. The first is dedication, and the other is service to others. Harold, reaching the level of Eagle Scout represents a solid commitment to the Scout program over several years. As a young adult, a significant amount of your time has been invested into learning new tasks, honing skills, and growing beyond your comfort zone. Earning this level of Eagle Scout was far from easy. Let me insert a deviation here and give a proverbial tip of the cap to Robin and Carmen. I believe your dedication, love, support, and investment are the foundations of Harold's success. And to you, we say, a job well done. Harold, along with dedication to the Scouts, I know you are invested in the arts, stage and song. Actors hone their craft by doing and being, which requires repetition, repetition, repetition. This element of theater can be boring, but the craft demands this type of dedication. Shakespeare, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, requires this type of dedication to keep the art alive and vibrant. Lyrical composition or song is poetry. As Shakespeare may be viewed as classical, not subject to change, poetry is an evolution of life and life experiences. Continue to demonstrate your dedication and keep writing. My follow-up observation, in accordance with the Scout spirit, relates to service to others. In December 2022, you were thrust into a difficult situation, a serious traffic collision, far from one that resulted in serious injuries to the most important people in your life, Mom and Madrina. During this time, we had lots come ahead. The Scout motto is, be prepared. Yet one can never truly anticipate an event like this one. Your actions and responses required a heavy lift, and during this time, you served your family. Service to others can be very public. For example, the Scout Project. From inception to completion, others are involved and aware of the development, progress, and deliverable. But sometimes the most important acts of service involve those that share the same surname or reside under the same roof, our family. HT, you may not have been prepared to deal with a serious traffic collision, but you were at the ready to serve your family. As a pastor, I view acts of service that cross a broad spectrum. And the most important and valuable tend to be those acts of service in private within the home. As we enter the home stretch, extending appreciation and recognition to Harold Thomas, thank you for serving your community and family. Harold, regardless of the pursuits you initiate in life, keep in mind you will always have occasion to serve others, in public as well as private settings. Maintain your best character in both arenas. Again, participate today. It has been an honor to celebrate Harold Thomas. Thank you.
Before his death in 1979, one of the final public appearances the great American actor John Wayne made was at a dinner benefiting the Scouts, a fundraiser for the purchase of land for a Scout reservation in the San Bernardino Mountains outside Los Angeles. Talking about the Scout law during his dinner speech, John Wayne said that while they were nice words, the trouble is we learn them so long we sometimes don't get all the understanding that goes with them. He then shared with his audience how he explained the importance of the Scout law to his own children. I would now like to ask Eagle Scouts Nathan Azel and Derek Mallet-Rust to come up now to read John Wayne's Scout Law, and Michael Monahan to do the traditional candle lighting.
A scout is trustworthy.
The badge of honesty. Having it lets you look any man in the eye. Lacking it, he won't look back. Keep this one on the top of your list.
A scout is loyal.
The very word is life itself. For without loyalty, you have no love of person or country.
A scout is helpful.
Part sharing, part caring. By helping each other, we help ourselves, not to mention mankind. Be always full of help, the dying man's last words.
A scout is friendly.
Brotherhood is part of the word. You can take it in a lot of directions, and do, but make sure and start with brotherhood.
A scout is courteous.
Allow each person his human dignity, which means a lot more than saying, yes, ma'am, and thank you, sir. It reflects an attitude that later in life you wish you had honored more, earlier in life. Save yourself that problem, do it now.
A scout is kind.
This one word would stop wars and erase hatreds, but it's like your bicycle. It's just no good unless you get out and use it.
A scout is obedient.
Starts at home. Practice it with your family, enlarge it with your friends, share it with teammates.
A scout is cheerful.
Anyone can put on a happy face when the going is good. The secret is to wear it as a mask for your colors. It might surprise you how many others do the same thing.
A scout is thrifty.
It means a lot more than putting pennies away, and it's the opposite of cheap. Common sense covers it, but just about as well as anything.
A scout is brave.
You don't have to fight to be brave. Millions of good, fine, decent folks share more bravery than elite champs just by getting out of bed, going out and doing a good day's work, and living the best life they know how against the law of odds. Keep the work handy every day of your life.
A scout is clean.
Soap and water help a lot on the outside, but it's the inside that counts, and don't forget it.
A scout is reverent.
Believe in anything that you want to believe, but keep God at the top of the list. With Him, life can be a beautiful experience. Without Him, you're just fighting.
Thank you. Mike Asel, former Scoutmaster of Troop 3877, will now share with us the Trail to Eagle.
We are gathered here today to mark the end of a long journey, the journey up the Trail to Eagle. 11 years ago, Harold joined the New Ipswich Greenville Cub Scout Pack and bridged to Boy Scout Troop 3877 4 years later. As I recall, it was probably at Derek's Eagle ceremony, the spirited young Cub Scout came running up to me. And if anyone knows Harold, as all of you do, he can be animated and full of life and spirit. And he says, "Hi, I'm Harold. I'm going to be an Eagle Scout just like Derek." So here we are today. As a young new scout, his first task was to learn about scouting skills, the oath and law, the motto and slogan. By pledging to live those guidelines, he became a full-fledged scout and earned the scout badge. Harold worked through the requirements to advance to the next rank, tenderfoot, memorizing the oath and law, going on his first camp out, and learning basic first aid skills. As he continued to be an active member of the troop, Harold learned about nature and orienteering and knot tying, railroading and chess and kayaking. He participated in a service project and a program on the dangers of alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. He earned his first merit badges at Camp Carpenter. Winter Klondikes and overnighting at George's Island meant new opportunities to test shelter building and cooking skills. For the next few years, Harold enjoyed working on a variety of merit badges, including some of the more time-consuming Eagle-required ones like personal management, just to get them out of the way. But, as so often happens, the 18th birthday deadline for making Eagle seems so far away when you're 13 or 14. And advancement took a back seat to the fun and choosing among the 137 available merit badges. And then, in early 2022, Harold truly committed himself to reaching Eagle. Between March and September of that year, he achieved his second class, first class, and star ranks, each of which requires an increasingly long list of skills to demonstrate, service hours to complete, and merit badges to earn. In addition, once at the rank of star, advancement requires the scout to serve at the level in a position leadership for a specific minimum length of time, which meant that in March of 2022, when Harold received his second class rank, he had only 6 weeks of cushion in his Trail to Eagle timetable before he would age out on his 18th birthday. Think about it, guys. Once he earned the rank of star, that fall, Harold could think seriously about ideas for his Eagle Scout service project. He worked hard that winter doing research in preparation for submitting his proposal on a pollinator and migration garden to the Eagle Board as soon as he reached the rank of Life Scout. In fact, he submitted the proposal just days after his Life Board of Review on March 23, 2023. Harold had worked so hard to that point that his 6 weeks of cushion had expanded to almost 3 months, and it turned out he needed almost every day of that cushion. No matter how well you plan, life in nature happens. The heavy rains last summer affected both scheduling workdays for his Eagle Project garden and things like his final 50-mile bike ride needed to complete the Eagle required cycling merit badge. And then in the fall, less than 2 months before his birthday, his grandfather's illness took him out of state for almost 6 weeks. Now, the Boy Scout Eagle Project is not about the scope or scale of the project. It's all about leadership. The Scout needs to find a project that has meaning to them and benefits the community or an organization. Next, he needs to make a detailed plan of how the project will be done, including acquiring whatever material that is needed for the project, which means fundraising events. A Scout cannot just be given money from the organization or a family member to buy the materials needed. Add to all this project days. It is the Scout's role to instruct each volunteer on the tasks he has assigned them. Many times this means instructing an adult on a task that they may already know how to do, as if they had never done that task before. With over 20 volunteers showing up at each project day, managing each task group was not easy. Being pulled in so many different directions. Hey, Harold, over here. Harold, I need your advice over here. Oh, Harold, what about me over here? A lot of people say being a scout leader is like herding cats. Now, imagine Harold was herding cats both as youth and adults. It was an enormous task for him to handle. Furthermore, he needed to feed the masses. And of course, scout leaders run on coffee. Lots of coffee. It was not an easy final stretch on his trail to Eagle, but Harold did it. And now we are here to celebrate, and he stands poised at the pinnacle of scouting.
Thank you. Our troop is fortunate to have, right in the middle of town, our very own scout camp, Camp DePlant on the banks of Waterloom Pond. Unfortunately, Colonel Lance DePlant is recovering from a knee injury, meaning that today's Eagle Court of Honor is the first in decades that he has not attended. Harold met with Colonel DePlant earlier this week and recorded him reading the Eagle Charge, as he has done for so many other Eagle Scouts in years past.
Being an Eagle Scout is a great responsibility. As an Eagle, the Scout Oath and Scout Law should take on new meaning for you. The motto and slogan take on new urgency. As an Eagle, your first obligation is to live with honor. You are a marked man, a leader for good or ill. People will follow the example you set. Give up anything before you give up your reputation and your good name. As Shakespeare said, "Mine honor is my life, both grow in one. Take honor from me, and my life is done." Let the white of the Eagle Badge remind you of honor. Your second obligation as an Eagle Scout is to be loyal. As a follower, you promise to be loyal to those above you. Now, as a leader, you must also be loyal to those below you, treating them as you would want to be treated. And you must also be loyal to your ideals, not letting others sway you from your course. Let the blue of the Eagle Badge remind you of loyalty. Your third obligation as an Eagle Scout is to be courageous. Stepping into your new role as a leader, you will face many challenges and obstacles. A ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are for. You must have the courage to do what is right, no matter what other people do or say. Let the red of the Eagle Badge remind you of courage. Your fourth obligation is to serve others, for a leader is above all a servant. Let the practice of the daily good turn lead to a lifetime of service. Not only in giving of yourself do you give anything of value. Just as always has, let the scroll down on your badge remind you of service. Your final obligation as an Eagle Scout is to have vision. As a leader, you must now blaze your own trail. Just as a bald eagle soaring high above the ground and look far into the distance, so too may you look far into the future. Many people follow you. Only with a vision will you lead them in the right direction. Let the silver eagle hanging from your badge remind you of vision. These then are your obligations as an Eagle Scout: honor, loyalty, courage, service, and vision. By meeting these obligations,
It is now time for the highlight of our program, the presentation of the Eagle Scout Award. Mr. Rothwell, please come forward for the official presentation.
I'll tell you when I need them. I have my own version marked up. Bring a light. Will the honor guard please escort Harold up to the podium? We've heard a great deal today about what it takes to be an Eagle. At this time, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our honorees scouting experience. This is where it says I get to throw in some free words. So right off the top of my head, they're written. I've known Harold for a number of years, from our first meeting when he was a Cub Scout. It's not high-tech, but it works. Harold was a short little kid with a Beatles-type haircut. He was always smiling. I'm sure the haircut was an influence from his interest in music. Harold progressed through Cub Scout rank, and I won't go into all the details because Mike covered a large portion of it. And some of it's going to be a repeat. I remember when Harold first crossed over, and I know Harold from both Cub Scouts, smile, and Boy Scouts, because I was his Cub Master and one of his Scout Masters. So I had both roles. He told us all he was going to make Eagle, and he was going to be one of the youngest to do it. Why? Because one of Harold's neighbors made Eagle, and Harold was going to do it. Well, we're all here today to attest to the fact he did it. He may not have been the youngest, but he made it. Harold held many roles in our troop, from chaplain's aide to SPL, senior patrol leader, highest youth position in the troop. Harold was never quite the wallflower, but rather a person who let you know what was on his mind, whether it was pertinent to the topic or not. I have been fortunate to watch Harold grow into the young man who stands before you today, and I'm confident he will continue to achieve great things in his future. Now we go back to the regular program. Use this one. As our court of order began today, you joined with fellow Scouts in repeating the Scout oath. Now you will stand alone and repeat a new oath, the Eagle Scout promise. Through the words you say are similar to those you have said many times before. Today, they will mean more than you have ever said. When you pledge yourself on your sacred honor, you will be sealing your oath with the words which closed the Declaration of Independence. I'd like all Eagle Scouts in attendance to please stand and join us in rededicating themselves to the Eagle Scout promise with our newest Eagle Scout. Please make the sign and repeat after me. I reaffirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
I reaffirm my allegiance to the Scout Oath.
Little motivation there, guys. I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself
the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
On my honor, I will do my best
On my honor, I will do my best
to make my training and example my rank and my influence.
to make my training an example, my rank, my influence.
I'm doing it in small chunks. Count strongly for better scouting and better citizenship.
Come strongly for better scouting and better citizenship.
In my troop, in my community, and in my contacts with other people.
In my troop, in my community, in my contacts with other people.
To this, I pledge my sacred honor.
To this, I pledge my sacred honor.
Will the audience Eagles please sit? Harold, got to stay near the mic because I don't have a voice. Your parents have undoubtedly been your primary source of health and strength. No one will ever know the unnumbered acts of self-sacrifice from your mother. I now invite your mother to pin the Eagle Medal onto your uniform. Red, white, blue. Anybody ever see the show F Troop?
This part we didn't practice.
That's fine. Look it up after. Harold, if you can please present the mother's pin to your mother. Jumping ahead. Harold, I know your Madria has been the source of much advice and guidance along your Eagle Trail. I invite her now to present to you the Eagle Scout certificate. In return, we'll get to that in a second. No. If you can please present this pin. We have one more piece of your uniform we have to change over. Gentlemen. They'll take it off. And now, it gives me great pleasure to present to you our newest Eagle Scout.
We now have some special congratulations. First, I invite State Senator Kevin Arvard to come up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This is a certificate from the Senate, but can I just say a few things? And I'm not a long speaker, I promise you. I've gone through a number of these. And I think when I hear a lot of the testimonies of the families, words come out that stick out. Number one, blessing. How do you describe blessing? Look around. You're the blessing. And the people that came to support Harold brings out another word, and it's called community. You've helped this gentleman become a leader in the community. Perseverance is another word that came to mind as I was listening to you. And I'm sure that there's a lot of things that you had to persevere and maybe some doubts, but you did it. Congratulations. Perseverance, and now as a leader, you'll be able to bring people together. Are you a musician?
Yes, sir.
So music can bring people together, whether you like somebody or not. What do you play?
My foundation instrument is piano.
Piano. What I have learned, whether you're on any kind of a spectrum of anything, if you play Where It Began, I can't begin to know it. What happened? People started to sing. Do they know each other? Does everybody know each other? It brought people together. As a leader, use what you have during the tough times, because I think we're in the head of some tough times. Use your gift to bring people together, because they're going to look for leaders and treat people equally. So what I have right here is a proclamation from the Senate. It basically says, the New Hampshire Senate, as a resolution, be it known that the New Hampshire Senate extends its congratulations to Harold Thomas McCarthy in recognition of achieving the rank of Eagle Scout with Troop 3877, Daniel Webster Council. And be it further known that the entire Senate of New Hampshire extends its best wishes and congratulations and continued success. And along with this, if I can hand that to you, Governor Sununu signed something for you as well as I did, and it has to do with the flag that flies over the Capitol. So this is from me and from the governor himself. That's his actual signature. And a flag that was brought over by that flew over the Capitol. Congratulations, and thank you all for being part of this. I mean, I don't have to thank you, but you're the community, and this is a beautiful thing. Can I just say one thing? I can't find anything that is more beautiful than watching a mother come up to her son and congratulate you publicly for things that you've done and your achievements. That is a gift that some people just don't get. Congratulations.
Thank you, Senator. And now, State Representative Shane Siroy.
You're Shane Siroy.
He must not be here today. Carmen Madrid will now read special letter of congratulations.
Thank you, Marcus. Shane Siroy is the state representative for our district, where we live, but he was unable to attend. However, he did author a letter to Harold, and I would like to read it because Shane knows a little bit about what has gone on in our family in the last 12 months. Dear Harold Thomas McCarthy, congratulations on earning the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout as part of Troop 3877 Daniel Webster Council. This remarkable achievement is a testament to your unwavering determination, hard work, and commitment. Your grandfather has been with you every step of the way, guiding and inspiring you from above. His pride in your accomplishments is undoubtedly immense, and his spirit continues to be a source of strength for you. You have shown exceptional dedication and perseverance to reach this significant milestone, and your efforts are truly commendable. The entire community joins in celebrating your success and the bright future that lies ahead. Best regards, Shane Siroy, New Hampshire State Representative. And I will tell you that, again, Shane knows a little bit about what gone on in our family, and I didn't think that he could put something in a letter that has the state seal on it, so personal. But he was very touched and very proud of you. So I wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Eric Anthony of the Marine Corps League will now, no, that's not it. Where'd it go? It was up here. He has a biography for me to read before he comes up to speak. Born in a small town in Illinois, Eric Anthony's family moved to California. His schooling included 3 years in British Columbia. Upon graduation from high school in Oakland, California, Anthony enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1967. He served as an infantryman and language specialist in Vietnam with the 7th Marines. In June 1968, he was wounded in action, earning the Purple Heart for a landmine injury. Eric studied classical guitar at the University of New Mexico and later in Spain, besides studying under guitar master Narciso Yippies. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. He also had many other adventures in his 3 years there, including running with the Bulls in Pamplona, being an extra in a spaghetti western movie, Whiskey and the Ghosts, and performing in a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial with Colonel Sanders. After graduating from the New England Conservatory, his performing career, while based mainly at the Harvard Club of Boston as a guitar soloist, also took him back to Spain to do a series of concerts in Madrid under the U.S./Spain Cultural Exchange Grant. At the request of the Consul General of Spain, Eric also performed several times at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston and as part of their Granados celebration. Eric Anthony is now retired, living in Auburn, New Hampshire, where he remains active with the Marine Corps League, serves on the board of the Susan P. Anthony Birthplace Museum in Adams, Massachusetts, and at his church. Will Eric Anthony please come forward now to speak?
So in several years, I should introduce myself first. Eric Anthony, I'm representing Detachment 542, the Granite State Detachment of the Marine Corps League. And in the several years I was in scouting, and by the way, Cub Scout before that. I never made Eagle, just Scout second class. Nevertheless, the skills learned have become useful to me from time to time. One of my first jobs after my enlistment in the Marines was as a YMCA camping instructor at Camp Lomamar, which is the Oakland YMCA camp in the redwood forest of the Santa Cruz Mountains. And that is the coastal area of Northern California. Duties included instructing campers in the weapons of the trade, such as knives, axes, starting a safe fire, and cooking. Then taking some of them out on overnights, telling ghost stories by the campfire, catching crawdads for hors d'oeuvres with dinner, all very much like Scout stuff today, right? Well, one day I was looking at the stream, a nice swimmable stream that ran through the camp, and I thought, that stream needs a bridge. And not just any bridge, but a monkey bridge. So, the camp had large and long tug-of-war ropes and an assortment of smaller ones. I had my campers lash some tripods together, anchored to a stout tree on either side of the stream, ran the thickest 3-inch rope as the foot rope over the width of the stream, 50 feet or so, and about 6 feet high, and 2 smaller ropes as the side railings, and a thinner rope sort of woven in between as a connecting stabilizer for the span. So this structure was so popular that the other instructors, the crafts instructors, swimming and games, became somewhat jealous because at almost any sunlight hour, their clients would be seen down at the stream playing hooky, and there would be 4 or 5 monkeys hanging off my bridge. It was also discovered that the bridge had a marvelous elastic quality, kind of like a trampoline. And a favorite prank that grew up around the bridge was waiting until one's counselor was in the middle of the bridge, then jumping up and down vigorously on the foot rope on either side. This had the effect of catapulting the victim up into the air and into the stream. Anyway, I guess that job sure covered the full spectrum of my scouting skills. I don't know if I would qualify forensically for today for an Eagle project, but or for a liability suit. So jobs are not always what you think they are. In many jobs and situations, you will suffer great challenges and humiliating indignities. But you must learn to forge ahead. You must learn that each of us has reserves that you had no idea that you had. This is because you never had cause to call on them. Reserves of spirit, of strength, of faith, even of courage. Also reserves in what to say and what not to say, or when to act or when not to act. Setting challenges and goals for yourself will bring these out. Or, if you prefer, just wait and life will bring them out. Such a learning process, I am sure, was Harold McCarthy's Eagle Project. The planning, preparation, the diplomacy, the resolve to make things happen and present it, a successful qualified work, sort of a scout's doctoral thesis. That qualifies him to face the greater challenges of life and to be somebody others consult and look up to and even depend on. But back to indignities. My pride had a huge setback when I arrived at boot camp. I was all set to be the big bad Marine and get lots of respect. But imagine my surprise when, as soon as we got off the bus, the sergeant started yelling at us. And in the most insulting terms, he had us stand at attention like idiots on yellow footprints in the pavement, because that's so the idiots know where to stand, right? First, they shaved our heads. Then they took all our clothes, and I mean all our clothes. And they had us put them in a box and address them and send them back to Mommy and Daddy. Then we were made to wear these ridiculous outfits, not at all like the pictures of the Marines in dress blues. They were bright yellow baggy sweatshirts and shiny baggy bright green pants and sneakers. So I looked and felt like a complete clown. And believe me, clown was the least of the insulting terms that the sergeants would use to describe us. We would learn to listen to the drill instructor, because for the next 3 months, he would tell us loudly who we were, what we were, and in excruciating detail and pain, how and when we were to do things at any hour of the day or night. Failure to follow his advice brought swift and grave consequences, life-threatening consequences, as some of us later found out. It became my mission to just survive this situation and the devastating realization that those papers that I had signed actually meant something. They meant I was government property. So I determined to give the government what it wanted for the term specified. I did my best. I called in full on those untapped reserves in my body and in my mind. By the end of boot camp, I came to respect those drill instructors. I liked working with other guys in the unit and came to appreciate them, different as we all were from each other. And believe me, we're different. All different parts of the country, different backgrounds, different races, different cultures. But now we had something greater in common. I don't think every team of Marine drill instructors did this, but after we graduated from boot camp, our sergeants sat us down and explained what they were trying to do. They were trying to create an atmosphere that approximated war, psychological and physical. All the fear, pain, unexpectedness, if we, as a team with precision and accuracy, with attention to each respective piece of equipment, to rank and duty, reacted and trained, then we had the best chance of protecting each other, prevailing, and surviving. So it has been throughout Marine Corps history, from John Basilone and Chesty Puller to the present. Ordinary men are capable of doing extraordinary things. I would like to conclude by reading a short poem by a local guy. You may have heard of him, Robert Frost. I think it encapsulates the honor we are to bestow on Harold McCarthy today as an Eagle Scout and the effort he has put into this accomplishment. In a way, this poem speaks not only about walking in the autumn woods, but about our walk through life. From the worst felon in a federal penitentiary to a 4-year-old child, we each have a sense of right and wrong. But can you do it? Can you follow that resolve no matter how long or how hard the path is? No matter if it is popular or if it is easy or not easy, and not what everybody else is doing. As the English writer W. Somerset Maugham said, "You do good because it is its own reward." So this poem is called "The Road Not Taken." Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. Thank you. Now I have a presentation to make from the Marine Corps League to Harold. This is from the Marine Corps League, a certificate of honor and appreciation for what you've done to achieve Eagle Scout. And this is a good citizenship reward, and I give it to you in the hope that you will exercise all the privileges and duties of citizenship that make this country great. So thank you.
Would anyone else like to say something about Harold?
Oh, Harold. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nathan Asel. I aged out of scouting right around the time that Harold was joining into, at the time, Troop 42, which then transferred to 3877. I did not have the honor of being a scout with Harold for most of his career, but he did ask me, prior to getting his rank of star, to be his Eagle Scout advisor. For those of you who may not be involved in scouting very much, an Eagle Scout advisor is an adult leader in the troop who answers the questions and helps the youth on their way to the rank of Eagle. Now, when Harold asked me, I of course said yes, because it's a huge honor, and I was very honored to be that role for you. But I also told him I already made my rank of Eagle, so I would help him in anything he needed, but he would have to earn it himself. In our many conversations and everything we talked about in every step of the way, one of the big questions that we talked about was leadership. Now, this is not only because I was going to ask about leadership, but also because the Eagle Board was going to ask about leadership. And oh, they did. Being an Eagle Scout advisor, I get to sit in, or had the luxury of sitting in, on a couple of the conversations that parents and other adult leaders are not able to, both in the Eagle Project proposal and in the border reveal. Now, a lot of this is more confidential questions that they ask Harold about his scouting career, so I won't get into all those details, but what I wanted to share is the difference from the beginning, when Harold was first starting his Eagle Project, to the end. Your transition, both in the way that you answered my questions about your leadership, and to then how you then answered the Eagle Board's questions about leadership, it really transformed you from the younger scout that you were when you first started into the young man that you are now. And that is the purpose of scouting, is to transform youth into the men that they can become in the future. Not only men, but now also females in Scouting of the USA. So, Harold, I wanted to say it is my honor and pleasure to have you as a member of the Eagle Scouts. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to come up? No? All right, then we will. All right, what's next? Okay, I believe Harold. Yeah, it's time for Harold to acknowledge his mentors.
Welcome back. First of all, I'm going to take this paper clip off so that I can move through these quickly and not fumble. I'd like to thank Mr. Steve Kennedy for providing the live music today. If you know me at all, you know I love music, all kinds. And thank you to my friend, Mr. Marcus Leonito, for being my big MC. Now, I would like to acknowledge some very special individuals who shared with me their gifts of knowledge and experience on this long journey. Steve Wathwell, Mike Azel, and Nate Azel. Would you please come up here? Yeah, they move fast, you know? Mr. Steve.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, I'm just trying to, so they can hear me. You are always, pardon me?
We make you nervous all here together.
You are always in a good mood and so generous, especially with your time. So often we scouts need to complete something for advancement, and you always make it happen, incorporating the new skill or challenge into our troop meetings or campouts. Troop 3877 would not be the same without you, or your jokes and brain teasers, especially the one about the muffins. That's a good one. I will never forget all the trips to Duncan's on our way to or from orienteering or campout, and how you kept our troop going during the pandemic shutdown by having us work on badges like kayaking, where we can be, 200 feet away and everything like that. Thank you very much, Mr. Steve, and I have something for you here.
Thank you, Harold. It's been great.
Mr. Mike, your insistence on not letting me quit anything is one of the main reasons I'm here today. Building a campfire, putting up a tent by myself for the first time, making me redo that hiking trail map for my camping merit badge before you would sign me off on my very last Eagle requirement. And now I'm double guessing. I did turn that into you, didn't I? Yeah, okay. Just wanted to check. Because I was last night thinking like, oh wow, But thank you very much for doing that. I really appreciate that. Thank you for holding me to the highest standards and not quitting on me. Thank you, Mr. Mike. Nate. As my Eagle coach, you told me at the beginning that the Eagle coach is not there to do it for you, but to offer guidance, encouragement, and advice. You said that everything related to an Eagle project must be initiated by the Scout, and you weren't kidding. You were for real, for real, for real. I'm sure there were times you were a little worried, a lot worried. You hadn't gotten an update on my Eagle Garden for a few weeks, but you left the situation in my hands, as it should be. You were always there to support me when I reached out to you, and especially on the last big work day of my project, when you climbed up onto that wood chipper to unjam it and save the day. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I would like to present these mentor pins to all three of you. Thank you very much. Mike, Mr. Azel, before you get comfortable, I still need you here just for one little thing. It's ironic that in addition to being my first Scoutmaster, you're also my Camping Merit Badge counselor these last few years. Ironic because I remember, and I'm sure you do too, probably very well, many years ago, not just one or two troop campouts where you had to place a nighttime phone call to those people right there, okay, for me to be picked up in the middle of the night. I remember one time we were in a snowstorm at your house camping. Mom, I want to come home. Are you serious? It's snowing out. We can't get through. And because I was too scared to sleep in a tent all by myself, for your forbearance and for all the extra coffee such nights required you to drink, I wanted to give you an extra token of my appreciation. The Instant Scoutmaster Just Add Coffee Cup. along with a special dark roast that I call the Instant Scoutmaster Brew. There you go, Mr. Mike. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. I would also like to acknowledge our Troop Committee Chair, Michelle Krischbaum, who is, Mrs. Krischbaum, who unfortunately is not here today, has retained her position long after her own boys are no longer in scouting. If it wasn't for her dedication to the troop, pulling together all my boards of review on the tight Trail to Eagle timeline I had given myself, we would not be here today. Thank you very much. Yes, please clap. Yeah. Also not here today for me to thank in person is Miss Jen, whose husband, Mr. Paul, you all saw in the video earlier. Miss Jen has been my de facto school guidance counselor for more years than I can remember. When I bridged from Cub Scouts to Webelos, she was the one who helped me put together this colored pencil timetable, which I don't have here as a prop. Picture it, please, in your head, of how to get to Eagle. She helped me come up with it. Miss Jen taught me how to, use my mom's words, get my rear in gear. In other words, the time management that not only was crucial for my Trail to Eagle success, but one of the most critical life skills you can learn as a teenager. I know you'll be watching this on a screen, Miss Jen, so thank you very much. Clap. Oh, the TV's blocking him. Okay. I had a second long-distance mentor on countless phone calls the last few years. I bet Uncle Bob rolled his eyes whenever he saw a text from me because he knew I was probably calling to whine at him that I don't want to do this anymore. He talked me down, he boosted me up, he helped me remember my priorities, and he never let me forget that I had all the tools, thanks Miss Jen, to accomplish my goals if I just used them. That's your cue to come up here, Uncle Bob. Come on up. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. To show my appreciation, and because you had so much fun at Camp Winnoxet last summer, I thought you would enjoy, yeah, that's right, your very own official Scout hand axe, engraved Scouter Bob.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to have fun getting
Yeah.
Thank you. Handshake.
And of course, your mentor pin.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much, Uncle Bob. No, other way. Scout handshake, scout handshake, scout handshake. There you go, that's better.
Okay.
Thank you very much. A very special thank you to two other guests who traveled the farthest and who belong to my circle of support. My Aunt Rita from California, my Uncle John, the big OG from Arizona. My Uncle John is here representing my grandma, Emma Larson, who could not travel here, and my grandfather, Hal Larson, who passed away last November. My grandmother and my grandfather have always been among my most devoted supporters. Thank you. And now, the two people who have no choice but to say, oh shoot, I'm 18. Their application's finished. Anyways, yet they do remain my greatest cheerleaders. Madrina. No matter how much we disagree on things at times, like whether or not Eminem is a modern-day Shakespeare, he really is. You always know when I am serious about something and really, really want it. Even though sometimes I may say I don't, you've always come through for me and support me all the way to the end. And you've never left me to deal with life's biggest challenges alone. Thank you, Madrina. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Ma. Drives her absolutely nuts. Ma. You have done so much. To quote Shakespeare, silence is the perfectest herald of joy. And that really does apply here. For 11 years, you have always been there, motivating me when I feel unmotivated, driving me to every scout meeting, going as a second adult in a camp out so it wouldn't be canceled. You have never let me fall, and have always kept me on the path to get where I am today. Thank you, Ma. And now would my mom please come up here, because I have something for you. Thank you very much, Ma. I would say open it here, but there's a nice bow that she's going to want to say for something else, I know. Here you go, Ma. Thank you very much, Ma. One final and important acknowledgement about how I first set foot on the trail to Eagle. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Derek Rust. I attended your Eagle ceremony when I was about 7 years old and was in awe of your accomplishment. And that very cool uniform and sash. Yo, check it out. You inspired me to set my sights on the same goal. I am so grateful you and your wife and your parents and your brother could all travel here to take part in today's ceremony. We have missed you all as neighbors. Move back in. Come on. Thank you very, very much. And now, speaking of me when I was 7 years old and saw Derek at his ceremony, I believe we have a photo of that fateful day. And I'm going to go sit down now.
Last summer, when our troop needed an additional adult to accompany us to Camp Renauxet, a longtime family friend of Harold's registered as our new assistant scoutmaster and joined us for the week. Robert Nicholas, aka Uncle Bob, probably holds the record for longest commute by a scout leader, as he lives in Southern California. He will now read one of the traditional Eagle Ceremony poems.
And no, Harold, there will be no interpretive dance like I promised. I'm sorry. I threatened him with that. The Eagle by Tom Lawler. 'Twas the eagle they chose as a symbol of strength for a new and mighty land that was forged in truth and liberty, delivered by God's own hand. That eagle stands for integrity and pride throughout our age, to remind us of the wars we fought for freedom and the price that we have paid. And so it was when Lord Powell called on his troops of boys to be men that this symbol so strong, so pure, and so proud was called to serve again. Not every scout can wear this badge. In fact, they are but few who rise above their peers today to remind us of what is true. That loyalty and being good will always be our aim, that courage and faith are the best of us, that the eagle knows no shame. Those honored few who wear this badge walk among us to this day to exemplify the very best we strive for, and so now we pray that God will bless and keep this scout and always in his sight, for it is he, not us, who knows it best. The eagle stands for right.
I believe it is time for Harold to do his Eagle speech.
If theater has taught me anything, it is that the simplest things can matter the most and require the most repetition to get them absolutely right. Last Sunday, I wrapped up my 10th summer season with Project Shakespeare, performing one of the leads in the Bard's popular comedy, Much Ado About Nothing. In one scene, my character, Don Pedro, Prince of Aragon, and two friends conspire to trick Benedict, known throughout Messina as dead set against ever taking a wife. That despite all evidence to the contrary, the sharp-tongued Beatrice is really madly in love with him. We three stage a conversation where we speak very loudly and comically about Beatrice's feelings, all the while knowing full well that Benedict is sneaking around in the background, listening to us in amazement. To the audience, it is a laugh out loud but simple scene. And yet, we spent hours rehearsing that one part of the play, deciding amongst ourselves and with the director who should be turned which way when, how we would move our hands, and exactly what Benedict was doing in the background that was funny but not over the top silly. Every small detail counted, and yet it all looked so effortless from the audience seats because we had gone over it 100 times. Music is the same. When I'm writing a song, I consider every detail at length, often to the detriment of my homeschool studies. Hi, Mom. Do I want a darker sounding composition? Start with a minor chord, but which one? And build the chord progression from there, stopping to evaluate the sound of each and every note. If I'm looking to write something in the vein of Kenny Chesney, for example, I start exploring brighter chord progressions, like G major, to C major, to E minor, to D major. Musical details that add up to a very pleasant, happy-sounding melody. I can spend hours in my studio working on one chorus, come upstairs and play it, and my godmother will nod along to the beat and say, I like it, and I can't tell what you changed, but you're right, that is better. The final result sounds so simple to the ear, but behind it is that repetition, repetition, repetition. making sure that each part that makes up the whole is as close to the ideal sound I hear inside my head. One of the most important details in my Eagle project, the educational pollinator garden and migration refuge, to use its official name, was ensuring that the area included both food, such as perennial flowers, and shelter, such as black blueberry bushes for birds, bees, and butterflies. I had noticed that the nature space between the parking lot and the main road was pretty much devoid of any animals. Tall pines and massive oaks in need of trimming, and messy saplings provided no real shelter for migrating flocks of birds. I had never seen any squirrels or rabbits running around without any flowers or flowering plants under the trees or any spots where water collected for a time after rain. And there were no bees, butterflies, or birds. I have always raised monarch butterflies. I've been doing this since kindergarten. While doing my homeschool lessons, I can see out the window flocks of songbirds taking shelter and finding sustenance in our blueberry bushes much of the year. To help other people at all times, one part of the Scout Law means to me to help others in general, including, especially, those creatures who cannot speak for themselves. Providing food, water, and shelter for butterflies and other pollinators and birds, and designing and installing educational signs for my woodland garden enabled me to help wildlife and to teach the children who attend the preschool here on the church property about nature. The milkweed plant serves as both food and shelter for the monarch butterfly, the only food and shelter, in fact, for monarch eggs and caterpillars. Female monarchs will not lay their eggs on any plant other than milkweed, and it is literally the only thing that the baby caterpillars will eat. On my planting workday last July, the little kids team sowed wildflowers and put in a few small milkweed plants. You can see photos of the kids hard at work in my eagle binder after the ceremony, by the way. A week later, the milkweeds were just sad stalks. I suspect the culprit was the local bunny who had moved in near the shed. We put in some replacements, same story. Once you have an established milkweed patch, the bunnies can enjoy a milkweed salad without affecting what's available for the monarchs because the plants are so tall and lush. But what seems such a simple detail when planning my garden project was anything but. My role as an Eagle project leader is over, but my work in the gardens here is not. I'm now on one of the church's green teams, helping maintain the plants and the grounds and plants. Achieving critical mass of milkweed is clearly a detail that will require repetition, repetition, to get it right, which is ironic, as those of you with gardens know, because common milkweed tends to grow everywhere, except, I've learned, where you actually want it. I passed my Eagle Board of Review in February, and I already see myself using the things I've learned. I have been applying the same organizational concepts to other aspects of my life that require long-term planning and attention to detail. Back when achieving Eagle first seemed to be within reach, my Scoutmaster, my Eagle coach, and Miss Jen had all told me about using whiteboards and poster boards for scheduling, making long lists, organizing, and keeping track of my Trail to Eagle timetable. At first, I had resisted all this organization. But once I got into the habit of doing it and realized how useful it all was, I started bringing poster boards with work team assignments and other information displayed on them to my Eagle Project work days. The more organized I was, the better a leader I became. Repetition ensured ongoing process, and the success encouraged me to repeat what was going on. I ended up using color-coded Post-its to keep track of everything, from progress on merit badges to the stages of my Eagle Project. I know I would not have reached Eagle without finding an organizational system that worked for me and that I could repeat on my own. In fact, the very same week of my Eagle Board of Review, I recorded my first song in a professional recording studio. My 12-year-old self could never have imagined that I would be able to reach either of those two major goals, much less both of them so close together. Being an aspiring rapper and songwriter, having this organizational system is one of the most useful tools I have for meeting goals in the pursuit of my music enterprise. So now those same poster boards have been refilled with Post-its again, some for my music projects and some for organizing which high school classes I need to finish and when. Yet, fulfilling the Eagle charge isn't something you can track on a poster board or spreadsheet. Leading with honor, loyalty, courage, service, and vision as Colonel DePlant charged me with, is a pursuit to be undertaken every day for the rest of my life. Just like the simple-sounding Scout Oath ideals of kindness, of thrift, of cheerfulness, so well explained by John Wayne, the Eagle Scouts' obligations require repetition, 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 in the form of everyday details, and in a commitment to doing the small things that make one a good man, a good citizen, and a good example. As one of my favorite musicians says, the moment you own it, you better never let it go. You only got one shot. Not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. I have been walking this trail to Eagle for a very long time. The view is pretty good from up here, but it is only the beginning. The thing about reaching a mountain summit is that you gain a perspective unimaginable from below, and you can fully see that even higher peaks, farther away, now beckon. Repeating the simple act of putting one foot in front of another with dedication and purpose will get me to those new heights and beyond. Thank you.
As we are holding this court of honor in a Lutheran church, and I understand that Lutheran churches are usually filled with music, Harold wanted to close this ceremony with a song. He says that the one he chose is both a Christian hymn and an ode to beauty and the power of the natural world, something all Scouts learn to appreciate. I invite you to join in singing Spirit of Gentleness, number 396 in the red hymnal, after which Pastor Kim will deliver the benediction.
Spirit, Spirit of me from placidness, wind, wind on the sea. Today's benediction for Harold, for your troop, and indeed for all of us. May you know the truth and keep your promises, for a scout is trustworthy. May you stand by your family and friends, your country and the world, even when it's difficult, and at times you may feel like you're standing alone, for a scout is loyal. May you offer a helping hand without seeking payment or reward, for a scout is helpful. May you offer and accept friendship with a diverse people of all colors, languages, and traditions, for a scout is friendly. May you create space for all and respect and acknowledge all for who they have been created to be, for a scout is courteous. May you treat others as you wish to be treated. Show respect for everyone, for a scout is kind. May you follow the rules of your family, school, and pack, and obey the laws of your community, your country, and God, for a scout is obedient. May you greet each person with a smile that lets them know they are seen, for a scout is cheerful. May you steward all the resources that God has given you and this world, the natural world, money, time, and skills, for a scout is thrifty. May the courage you have shown thus far in life only grow as you face steeper challenges on the road ahead, and do what you know is right, despite what others are doing, for a scout is brave. May your words, your mind, and your body remain healthy, and may you help to steward the whole world in which you live, for a scout is clean. May you always love and honor the God who created you in God's very image, and respect the beliefs and traditions of others, for a scout is reverent. May God's blessing go with you, and may this be true today and tomorrow. Amen.
Color guard, please retire the colors. Please stand for the retirement of the colors. Scout salute. Color guard, forward march. Two. Thank you all for attending this court of honor. Harold's family invites everyone to proceed into the room adjacent to the sanctuary where lunch is being served, and from there to the tables outside near Harold's Eagle Project garden.